Namaste guys, ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Sunday morning here. It's about 10 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time here in Denver, Colorado. Hope you're doing well. Hope you have a phenomenal, amazing, off-the-chart weekend and did something cool, learned something cool, hung out with someone cool. And as you guys know, we jump on and we do these live streams each and every day for the year of 2019. Typically Sundays, we do it around this time. Actually, we always do it around this time on Sundays. And then throughout the week, we usually do them in the later evenings around 6:30 p.m.-ish Mountain Time, usually when I'm done healing clients for the day. And I just realized how important, how vital proper lighting is. Interesting. Okay, I just got a message from a client. That'll be something I'll follow up later today. So, lighting is super important, right? Olga, Namaste. So here I have a window, and you can see it's all super bright and super shiny, and it kind of blocks out this part of me. And then I have a window over here. My arm looks super long. It's really weird. And I have a window over here where you're getting a light source, and then all over here it's kind of dark. So it's this weird lighting. So I realized making videos, lighting is super, super important. Adriana, but Namaste. But they found out, Namrata, Namaste. Glad you're on. You finally found the time that we're making this happen. That they found out that what is more important than actually the visual of something is the audio of something. So they did an experiment. There's a pranic healer who is in the movie industry, and he was sharing with one of the masters in pranic healing that people, even if the image is not so good, if people have a hard time hearing what they're watching, they will tune out. So hearing something is way more important than seeing something. That's probably why like podcasts are so prominent versus videos, right? Because if the podcast is clear, you can hear it, then you can plug it in, go to work, come back from work, do the dishes, whatever, and you can hear something. But if it's visually stimulating but you can't hear it, you kind of check out. Carol, Namaste. So I want to share something with you guys that I think you'll enjoy, it'll be really cool for you. Oh, Namaste, is that Amanda, Namaste. I knew I heard something. So later on today I'm going to be viewing there's a condo complex down the street from where I am here in Denver, Colorado. So you have Colorado, right? Then you have the city of Denver, and then a sub area of Denver is called Glendale, which has about 5,500 people. It's a really cute part of Denver. And then right next to Denver, you have or right next to Glendale, you have another sub area of Denver called Cherry Creek. Now, Cherry Creek is a very prosperous part of Denver. It's typically filled with, I would say, people in their late 40s to early 50s, usually professionals, very successful in their careers, attorneys, doctors, entrepreneurs, people that are in tech, real estate investors, and people that are looking to retire. There's actually a lot of retirees in the Cherry Creek area. And the past, let's say I've lived in Denver for about a little over 6 years now, and when I moved to Denver, in Cherry Creek, they were having a lot of cranes building up new high-rise apartments, because at that time, there was almost no inventory anywhere in Denver for people to get a home or to get an apartment. So entrepreneurial contractors and construction workers and builders were like, well, there's no inventory, so let's find any and all places that we can buy a piece of land and build up a high-rise. And so Cherry Creek has had high-rises going up the past 6 years, and they finally have started to finish those and now are renting out those places. So there's a condo complex right around the corner for a 2-bedroom. Check this out. These numbers are insane. A 2-bedroom, one and a half bath condo. Denise, Namaste, for about $1.2 million, right? About $1.2 million. Now, get this. to add an extra 1 bedroom, so 2 bedroom, 1.5 baths, to add an extra 1 bedroom and probably 2 baths, so an extra half bath, goes from $1.2 million to over $3.2 million for a condo. Now, I've lived all over the country. I lived in one of the most expensive real estate markets in the world, New York City. So obviously, a 1-bedroom condo could be $4 or $5 million. But Denver is not New York City. Denver is not LA. So I think that's really fascinating that the condos, brand new condos that be checking out later today, which relates to the topic of expanding your comfort zone, are 1.2 up to $3.2 million for these new builds. And one of my inspirations, if you will, in the world of business and marketing and making money is Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone has been a real estate investor, Sharon Altman Namaste, for over 30 years. He currently owns over 4,000 real estate units in his portfolio, and he's worth about $750 million, roughly, right? And he has 5 companies that generate over $100 million a year in revenue. And he recently, about 3.5 years ago, bought a private jet for about $10 million. Now, it's interesting because you think somebody at that level would have made it and would have rested on their laurels and would have stopped expanding and getting out of their comfort zone. Well, one of the properties he was looking to purchase or rent out was a $35 million property. $35 million property. And he was also looking at jets that were $50 million. A $50 million jet. And you might be thinking, what would anybody in their right mind spend $50 million for a jet? Well, if you're at this level of success and you associate with and hang out with people at this level of success, they inspire you, they encourage you, they threaten your own identity of what you're capable of, and so you are inspired to go to that next level. But if you are constantly hanging out with people at your level or below, then that doesn't encourage you to stretch. It doesn't encourage you to get out of your comfort zone, to become bigger, better, right? Jessica, Abba Namaste, good to have you on. Long time, girl. Hope you're doing well. So getting outside of your comfort zone is very, very, very important. I'll give you a really cool story, another one connected to real estate. So my ex-wife, many, many years ago, was a researcher in a commercial real estate business. And the guy who owned the business had been in commercial real estate for about 30 years. 30 years earlier, when he wasn't in commercial real estate as a realtor, he made $8,000 in 1 year. He was married. I think he had 1 or 2 kids at the time, and he made $8,000, and that was supposedly to support his entire family. Now, keep in mind, this is many, 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 many years. This is like probably probably about 45 or so years ago. So $8,000 obviously goes further than $8,000 goes this time around, right? So his first year, because he had a mentor of a guy who was extremely successful as a realtor in commercial real estate, he went from making $8,000 that year to the next year he made over $70,000. Think about that, going from $8,000 to making $70,000. What is that? Almost 10 times the amount of income. What if your income was 10 times from where you are now to a year later? So let's say you make $50,000 this year, and then next year you make $500,000. How would your lifestyle change? How would your mindset change? What kind of associations would you have? Who would you be hanging out with? What are the things that you would be doing, the things that you would be learning, the conversations that you would be having? They'd be very, very different, wouldn't they? Right? Because this guy was associating with a guy who had been there and done that and been very successful and was able to help him stretch outside of his comfort zone, encourage him to become better. So, fast forward to when my ex-wife was working with him as a researcher in this commercial real estate office. Shannon, namaste. I keep forgetting, are you back in Denver or not? You're going to have to remind me on that one. So, she's sitting at her desk, doing her research work, typing away at the computer, looking at these different programs, and trying to define the value of a certain commercial property. And her boss comes in, and he drops a check right in front of her on the table. And he points at the check and he says, "That check took me 18 months to get." And he goes, "If I can do it, you can do it." And the thing that will determine you having a check like that in your life is your ability to get out of your comfort zone, your ability to stretch, your ability to be bigger than you think you can be. And that check was for $420,000. So think about that for a second. My ex-wife was working for him making about $20 an hour. This is almost 15 years ago. Was making $20 an hour. How many hours would she have to work in order to earn $420,000? I don't have a calculator in front of me. For those of you who are really math nerds or math whizzes, you can figure it out. Of how many years she would have to work 40 hours a week to earn $420,000. But because of his skill set, because of his contacts, and because of constantly stretching himself to get out of his comfort zone, he was able to earn $420,000 from one check. Now, do you think that was the only deal that he had in his pipeline, the only deal that he was working? No, right? Because commercial real estate, if you don't know about commercial real estate, it takes months, if not years, to negotiate and to close on one of these deals, because they're usually worth millions and millions of dollars, right? So it's not like a residential home where you talk to a couple, they get pre-approved through the mortgage company, then they get their down payment together over 3 months or 6 months, or they already have it, and then they're ready to close on that deal, right? Real estate, commercial real estate deals take much, much longer, but the payoff is much, much bigger. So think about if you had several $420,000 deals in your pipeline that every 3 or 4 months, one close, another close, another close, another close. And at a time when I was doing real estate investing in New York and New Jersey, I was able to do some of those deals myself, and I was able to witness other people who had those deals on a regular basis. Now, is my dharma and my purpose to be a commercial real estate investor or a commercial real estate realtor? Not necessarily. My purpose, my dharma, is to heal people. I heal the people who do deals like that because of the stress of those deals, because of now they have this money, but they still lack fulfillment, right? You ever meet somebody like that they close a huge deal, whether it's in sales, whether they get a job promotion that they've been waiting to get for the next, for 5 or 10 years of their life, and then they're like, is this all that there is? Right? They lack the fulfillment. So my job in the world that I operate in, my expertise is to help people with fulfillment, right? Is to help people with fulfillment. And Anthony Robbins calls it 2 different things. You have the science of achievement, which is accomplishing your goals, your targets, your projects, and then you have the art of fulfillment, right? And fulfillment is different for each and every person. So what might fulfill you may not fulfill another person. So that's why we have to have self-awareness, self-understanding, in order to realize, oh, these are the things that truly make me happy, joyful, and content in my life. And I can assure you, chasing money is not gonna do it. I was working with a client recently who's been in sales for the past 10 years, and he constantly stressed out about money, constantly stressed out about sales, constantly stressed out about making the next deal happen. And I asked him a question. I said, you've been doing this work for 10 years. You've become relatively successful in it. And I said, when you close a big deal or you close a big account with a client, how long does your happiness and fulfillment last? And he says, probably about an hour, maybe a day at the most. So think about that. He spends weeks, if not months, full of anxiousness, anxiety, stress to close that particular deal, right? Because he believes deep in his heart that when that deal closes, he will be fulfilled. He closes the deal, the fulfillment lasts for an hour or a day, and then guess what he goes back to when he goes back to work the following day? The same thing of the stress, the anxiety, the anxiousness, the the need to achieve. Now, what would it look like if he knew who he was, if he knew his values, if he knew what was important to him, and he had a deep sense of inner peace? Hey, Emily, Atma Namaste. A deep sense of inner peace and fulfillment, right? And he went out to make those deals happen. So the point I'm trying to make is, you want to stretch your comfort zone because that's how your soul grows. That's how your soul evolves. But you have to also not be attached to the outcome that you seek, which that's called karma yoga. So karma yoga is the yoga of action without being attached to the fruit. So what would it look like? Like, for instance, if somebody said to you, okay, if you make these 100 phone calls, relating it to sales, if you make these 100 phone calls, you're going to sell somebody on a product or service that you're going to make money from, right? And then the person makes these 100 phone calls and nothing happens. No sale of a product or service, no money in their pocket, and what happens? They get despondent, they get depressed, they think that they're a failure, they think that they're no good, and all of these programs start running in their minds, right? That is somebody who is attached to the outcome. And when you are attached to the outcome, you lack fulfillment and you cause your own suffering, right? But what would it look like, or the beautiful thing is, as that person is making those 100 phone calls to sell a product or service, what are they developing? They're developing the virtue of constancy of aim and effort and non-laziness, industriousness, persistence. They're developing the ability to follow through. They're developing the ability to push through resistance. They're developing the ability of persuasion. They're developing the ability of adding value into society. They're planting seeds that will eventually turn into a harvest, right? So there's all these beautiful qualities that are being developed as the person is making each and every one of those phone calls. So if we're constantly attached to only to one result, hey Sarah, Atma Namaste, good to have you on. If we're attached to only one result, right, meaning making the sale, then we're lacking the fulfillment, then we're lacking the joy, then we'll never be in a state of happiness or bliss. So it's both. It's doing the best job that we can under the circumstances that we have, stretching ourselves on a regular basis, not being attached to the fruit. It's kind of like a farmer, right? If a farmer has a plot of land and he throws down a handful of seeds and then stares at the ground and is like, come on, seeds, I need you to produce a harvest now, the farmer is going to be very, very disappointed. But if the farmer does the best job that he can by picking the best plot of land, sowing the best quality of seeds, nurturing those seeds to the best of his ability, then what's going to naturally happen through the law of sowing and reaping is he's going to get a beautiful harvest, right? But we're so focused on getting the result before we've done any of the right work, the preparatory work, that it ultimately leads to suffering. Ashley, Atma Namaste, welcome to the party. This is my tangerine. See how this light? You can't quite see it. This is my tangerine LaCroix. Living it up. So, I'll be checking out that condo later on today. Why? To expand my comfort zone. To see what else is out in the marketplace. Now, do I have an intention of buying a $3.2+ million condo? No, not really my jam, not my thing. But am I saying that because that's truly not what I'm interested in, or am I saying that because I don't want to do the necessary things to get out of my comfort zone to acquire something like that? My own awareness at this time in my life is what I care most about is inner growth. What I care most about are experiences. I'm not a huge fan of material possessions. That doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't connect with me. It doesn't fulfill me with deep, profound joy, right? It just is what it is. For some of you who've been following me on these live streams, and when I went down to Florida 2 months ago to see my son, almost 2 months ago to see my son, I rented this Dodge Challenger. Now, for those of you who do not know, Dodge Challenger is one of the highest horsepower cars in the world that you can get. And the particular one that I rented had like 380 horsepower, right? 380 horsepower. So my foot barely had to touch the gas, and I was already like surpassing everybody running red lights and what have you, right? I love that. But am I overly attached to that? No. But there are people that are super, super passionate about cars, about jewelry, about paintings, about houses, right? That really gets them excited. For me, I'm more excited about learning. I'm more excited about experiences. I'm more excited about traveling, for instance, right? That's more interesting to me than just having a bunch of things that I can point to other people and say, look at all the things that I have. Doesn't really do it for me. But who knows? It could be a blind spot. It could be a limiting belief. Jana, I'm a namaste. And I'm willing to look at that honestly and objectively. So, that being said, if you are looking for help, for guidance, for assistance in getting out of your comfort zone so you can expand yourself and become a better person and a better soul, then go to ChristianRLong.com/services. It's my name. ChristianRLong.com/services, and sign up for a distant pranic healing session. 30 minutes of coaching, 30 minutes of healing, and will transform you to help move your life forward in some way, shape, or form. Now, people always ask me the question, Christian, how many healing sessions does it take to bring me from where I am to where I want to be? Well, that depends, and it depends primarily on 6 major factors. But I'll leave it to you like this, because we understand best through story and through metaphor. If you're out of shape and you want to get into the best shape of your life, let's say you want to lose 20 pounds of fat and you want to put on 10 pounds of muscle, right? And you hire the best personal trainer, Salvatore, I'm going to say, and you hire the best personal trainer on the planet, and you do one session with that personal trainer, is that going to help you accomplish your goal, your target of losing 20 pounds of fat and gaining 10 pounds of muscle? Is that going to be possible with one personal training session, with the best personal trainer in the world? No, right? So it's the same thing with energy healing. It's the same thing with coaching. You're like, Christian, what will it take for me to get out of my comfort zone? What will it take for me to get over my fear, my anxiety, my depression? What will it take to have more inner peace, more happiness, more joy, more fulfillment? Well, I can 100% guarantee you, unequivocally, through my almost 15 years of experience doing this work, that I can assist you getting you to where you want to go and beyond what you're even able to comprehend. But it's not going to happen in one session. So that's why 70% of the clients who work with me will do a package of healing sessions with me. And a lot of them renew. Why? Because as more and more layers of negative thoughts, negative emotions, negative programs are being peeled away from their life, they're starting to see the light. Literally, they're starting to see the light, and then they go, you know what? How far can I take this? How deep does the rabbit hole go, relating to the metaphor of Alice in Wonderland? Rashmi Atma Namaste. Welcome. So I encourage each and every one of you, at the very minimum, to get a coaching and pranic healing session at ChristianRLong.com/services. And then once you experience it, you can go, you know what? I like this. I like this because not only do I get coaching to get awareness, not only do I get healing to remove this junk, but I also get a homework assignment to maintain the benefits of the healings that I've received, so the transformation is permanent versus temporary. So that's my promise and commitment to each and every one of you, and that's why we do these live streams every single day, and that's why we do everything that we can to help move you forward. Healing is multifaceted. Healing is not an event. Healing is a process, and people have to understand that. Healing is a process. I think a lot of misunderstanding and miseducation is being thrown about in the world of energy healing, energy medicine, meditation, and spirituality. I know there are, not within pranic healing that I'm aware of, but within other schools, other energy healing schools and energy medicine practices, they say all you need is one healing, right? Whatever your condition is, like cancer, one healing. What if you don't get healed of cancer? Well, it's your fault, right? Or what if, what if you come to the healer for depression and the healer says all you need is one healing? Well, what if my depression doesn't go away? Well, then it's your fault, right? That's a very easy, simple way to put the blame and the responsibility onto the patient or client. But again, healing is multifactored, and healing is a, how do I want to say this? It's a collaborative effort. The healer has to be very good at what they do, and the client has to be very open and receptive. They have to be karmically entitled, and they have to follow simple instructions to make it happen. It's kind of like if a patient has cancer and they go to the doctor, and the doctor, who is a trained expert in cancer and oncology, and says, okay, you need to take these steps, these 4 steps, to ensure that there's an 80% chance that the cancer will go away. And then the patient only does 2 of those steps. Well, in that case, the patient is at fault because they did only 2 of the 4 steps needed to quote-unquote drop their cancer by 80%. But let's say the doctor is not very efficient at what he does. He's new into the world, and he forgets different treatments and therapies, and so he gives the person 2 treatments. The person does 2 treatments, and they don't get better, but actually the patient needed 4 treatments that the doctor wasn't prescribing. Does that make sense? 1 chemo is also not enough. Adriana makes an excellent point, and Adriana is a nurse, so she would know much, much better than me. So she says 1 chemo is also not enough, right? So somebody says, look, my body has cancer. I only want to do 1 chemo treatment. That's it. I don't want to do multiple chemo treatments. I don't want to lose my hair. I don't want to feel nauseous and sick to my stomach every day. I just want to do 1 chemo treatment. Can 1 chemo treatment cure me of cancer? And the doctor says no. And then the patient blames the doctor or blames the chemo treatment. Well, that's not how chemo works. Same thing with energy healing. I want 1 session to transform every aspect of my life. Is it possible? It's possible, right? With the blessings of God, the blessings of the great ones. It's possible, but is it probable? It's not probable. How do we know that? Because in pranic healing, it has been around for about 30 years, and we've done millions and millions of healings the past 30 years. And we've had a lot of studies, mini studies done. We've had a lot of studies done, and we know mostly what will work for most people. So Adriana says, but chemo and pranic healing work together better. Of course. And that also relates, so she's talking about using pranic healing in addition to somebody's chemotherapy to accelerate the physical healing rate of their body. Pranic healing and psychotherapy work extremely well with each other, right? So most people who have psychotherapy will see a psychotherapist for 3 to 5 years for specific emotional or mental trauma, right? But if that person is getting psychotherapy and they're also getting pranic psychotherapy, the person can be healed of their condition within 3 to 6 months of what I've seen. Whether it's a addiction, whether it's a phobia, whether it's low self-esteem, low self-image, depression, things like that. So it's both. Like, again, healing is multifaceted and multifactored. And that's my area of expertise. Am I an expert in chemotherapy? Absolutely not. But am I an expert in the energy body? Absolutely. Because I have a great teacher and a great system and 15 years of experience behind me. I would hope so. At this point, I would be an expert. It'd be really weird if I wasn't. And that's it, guys. So if you're in need of healing, go to ChristianRLong.com. If you have questions or comments, direct message me on Facebook. Put the comments in the section below so everyone can see it if you prefer that way, and then we can all discuss and learn from one each other's learning curve. And yes, psychotherapy will work much faster. Also, hopefully today I'll have some video or some pictures of one of these condos that I check out, and maybe it'll be all that in a bag of chips, or maybe it won't be. But it's an opportunity to get out of my comfort zone and do something different on Sunday. So that's it, guys. Thanks, Paula. You're late to the party, girl. Love you very much. And have an amazing Sunday, an amazing week, and an amazing life. This is ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant. Atma Namaste. Bye-bye.